What's up, everybody? Ralph here. So today's topic, I want to talk to you guys about how I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So ever since high school, I guess I had this business mindset. I even selected it as my major. I'm not even sure why I got into it. Maybe it was because I was a middle child, and middle children tend to have like a business mentality. But for me, like even from high school, even going on to college, like I chose business as my major. It was something that always intrigued me because maybe even during college, I was always that someone that said to me, I never want to have to work for somebody. I never want to have to work a 9 to 5. So even from the beginning, it was just I had this mindset of just business, like something about business. Just I gravitated towards it. It wasn't anybody that inspired me or anybody that pushed me towards it. I just had a certain mentality for it. And even though it took me a while to really like get into it, but it was something that always, that always like I pushed myself to get into. Like even after high school, after college, I got into a couple of multi-level marketing businesses. I got into a bunch of other things that that were in line with business that didn't work out. And that's the thing about businesses. You try you try certain things, and some you might fail at, but you try things just to figure out what works for you. So it took me a while to really like figure out what worked for me. But for me, it was like even after college, it was like, you know what? Business is what I wanted to do. I could see myself in a suit and tie and just getting to work. So I think for me, it was like, I think probably one of the biggest things, like I said before, was just not having to work for somebody. I didn't like being told what to do. I didn't like anybody telling me what to do. So even going out of college, is like, when everybody's getting ready to to find out what jobs they're going to work out, these office jobs people were planning, I could never see myself just being behind a desk and having someone tell me what to do, because I didn't like that. I like to do my own thing. I like to work for myself, be my own boss, and for me it was just like, business is what I had to do in order to get that, especially when you're joining these like multi-level marketing businesses. And they sell you on this dream of, making your own money, being your own boss. And of course, for me, and probably a lot of other people, that's something people like a lot of people gravitate towards. Because let's be honest, like who likes their job? But to be honest, but let's be honest, like how many people actually do something about it? A lot of people say they don't like their jobs, but they stick with it because obviously it's a secured paycheck, it's a guaranteed paycheck. So people they stick with it because it's security. But for me, like if I was at a job and I didn't like the job, I would quit. I'd be that person like, if I didn't like one thing, if you push me to a point where I was like, all right, this is not working, I would just leave. All right. So I never wanted to be comfortable at a job. So I think the longest I ever stayed at a job was probably like 3 years. So, it like just having that business mindset, I always wanted that mindset that, I want to be able to create my own thing. I wanted to do my own thing. I want to be my own person. And I tried things like probably, personal training. I was an independent trainer, but that didn't work out because, obviously your income is tied towards how many clients that you can bring in. So if you want more money, you have to bring in more clients. And I didn't want to see myself doing that forever. So I think for me, it was like business, like having the ability to build something and create was something that interested me a lot because, it's entrepreneurs tend to be the type of people that like to create something out of nothing. So for me, it was like that interested me because I had that mentality where I love to compete and I love to be able to challenge myself and push myself to a limit where not a lot of people like to go. So I think entrepreneurship and business was something that I saw that, and obviously you watch TV and you look at these people that talk about entrepreneurship and building their own business, and I guess maybe I saw that and was like, maybe that's something I can see myself doing. So I think it was always something that really like had a lot of interest in. So another reason why probably, how I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur was I know with a job, I know the type of money you make is set. It's limited. If you have a salary or you're getting an hourly pay, you're limited to the amount, your salary is going to be for the year or the amount of hours you can work if you're hourly pay. And I didn't like that. So I wanted to be able to create my own income. I wanted to have more control over how much money I made. And I know the only way I could do that was to start a business, right? And even though I had limited knowledge when it comes to like starting a business, I just knew that I could see the potential in building something and being able to have no limit in the amount of money that you can make. And it all depends on the amount of your output. With a job, you're stuck at a desk and you have a salary and you're getting paid the same paycheck every 2 weeks, and that you can't make any more than that. The same thing with an hourly job. It's I mean, if you want to make more money, then you have to work more hours, but there's only so many hours in a day. So I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, is being able to create a business where, depending on, if you're creating a product or a service, your income is unlimited. All right. It's unlimited to the amount of work and effort that you put in, or creating systems to help you make more money, especially while you sleep. So I think for me, I think that was a big thing. And I think that's for a lot of people, that when it comes to like entrepreneurship, is just knowing that your income, the amount of money that you can make, is unlimited. And I think for a lot of people, that's something a lot of people should work towards. And for me, that interests me the most. It was just like, all right, I mean, like, I know if I create a system, if I create a nice product or service, or if I find a need to help people, that, I mean, I can make as much money as I see fit. So I think that was another big thing. Another thing was I like to ask questions, and that's probably why school, like I struggle with school, there was just things that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Like even when school, I was going through college, and I struggled in school. Like I said, in my other videos, I almost got kicked out of school like 3 times. I was on academic probation 3 times, not because I was just like stupid, just I had no interest in it. I had no interest in the stuff that I was learning in college. It was it was like, what I was taking a music appreciation. I was like, what does this have to do with me trying to get a business degree? It was just like, I don't need to take this, so why am I taking this? And I guess for me, it was just like lack of interest. I think for a lot of people, and I think some people, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs would tell you that it's just, they have a lack. When it came to school was not for them. For me, school was not for me. I could tell you right off the bat, it wasn't for me. I'd be in class and I'd just be daydreaming, because just lack of interest. Like everything that they would talk about was boring. I'd fall asleep. I'd lose interest. I'd daydream. So for me, I had to be challenged. And college for me wasn't a challenge in terms of exciting or intrigue or interest. It was a challenge in terms of getting good grades, but after I'm done with college, I can see that it was useless. Like if I go back, I probably wouldn't go to college, But I met some good people, so I mean, I am thankful for that. But in terms of like, questioning like certain things, it's just like, for me, like being an entrepreneur is like, I like to question things. I like to learn new things that interest me. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, that's really important, because you should never stop learning. When you're working like one of those office jobs, like you're working that desk job or you're working your regular job, it gets to a point where, I mean, obviously in the beginning when you start your job, it's something new. But you're there for a year or two, you're doing the same thing over and over again every day. So you're not learning anything new. Being an entrepreneur, starting businesses, you're always learning something new, because the environment's always changing. And obviously, as an entrepreneur, as somebody that's starting a business, they say you should always operate your business as if someone's trying to take you out of business. So you're always trying to find new systems, find new ways to innovate, and trying to build your business so that it's sustainable for years to come. So I think, and that has always been the challenge, because having that drive and having that competition it keeps you humble, and it keeps you hungry. And I think for me, it was like, I like to be able to challenge myself in a way that helps me like create questions for myself on how to make my business better, or how I could create more wealth for myself. So. Like these for me, these were some of the reasons why how I knew I was an entrepreneur, because it's just I saw things differently. I like to do things the opposite. For me, it was like I always like to do the opposite of what other people are doing. Everybody was focused on getting jobs and going to school, and which is something I did. But for me, I questioned like why I wanted to do it, and unfortunately, I didn't have like a mentor there like to guide me. One book that really helped me out was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that helped like solidify and validated everything I felt about it. And I read that right after college. I read that book and I was like, oh man, everything that I thought about college was correct. This is how I felt, and finally someone validated that for me. So I probably would have gotten into like things sooner if somebody was there, or had I read that book sooner. But once I read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, it really changed my mind. It was like, all right, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to pursue. So, and I've always had that drive. It was always something in me. It wasn't something that somebody told me to do. It was just something that I knew. Even going through college, I was like, a lot of this just doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna try to figure out a different way to do it. So yeah, so I mean, if you felt the same way, if you had these same questions, or maybe somebody you can relate to some of these things, maybe you can, you probably see yourself as an entrepreneur as well. So I hope kind of like answer some questions, or gave you a little guidance, and in you trying to figure out if entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur is something for you. So if you find this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, and if you have any questions, please make sure to leave a comment down below. All right, so take care and have a good one.